So, coconuts with yoga nuts.
And I'd like to welcome my dear old friend, Gwyn Williams of Zenthai Shiatsu.
Okay.
I don't think I've ever drank a coconut upside down, Gwyn.
Well,
Let's
it's
give it a
always
try.
it's always the first time. How's it go? Wow.
Gwyn, as you can see, is an expert at lengthening spine and getting the chi flowing throughout the body. And for those of you who have never had the opportunity to experience, it feels so good. Hi, Charlie Yoga Barn. I'm here today with Gwyn Williams of Zenthai Shiatsu, based in Australia. Gwyn I've known, I believe, for 11 years. Gwyn, and I believe it was the second annual BaliSpirit Festival. And from that period of time, he's taught several workshops at Yoga Barn. I had the beauty of participating in one the other day. Gwyn is a martial artist. He is astute and studied in all aspects of Chinese medicine. Spent a lot of time in China. Knows everything about Qi.
Thailand, actually.
Thailand, excuse me. Knows everything about meridians, Qi, flow of energy. And I can tell you that if you ever have the opportunity to get an adjustment by this fellow, you will be loving life. Feeling like you're a bamboo reed, just bending in the wind. Thank you for being here today.
It's great to be here, Charlie. I'm always honoured to be in your company.
Thank you, thank you.
We had a lot of fun in that workshop the other day, twisting you inside and out.
So you said a couple of beautiful things at the outset of the workshop. You said, my passion is about connection and relationship. You led in with that. I'd like you to elaborate on that. And then you also said one of your life philosophies was the acronym NFA. Describe those two things, please.
Let's go to the connection in relationship. Definitely, we can't escape relationship, can we? It's everywhere in our life, whether it's our relationship together, the relationship we have with this humanhood, this relationship we have with nature. And look in Bali, this is amazing. Or the relationship that we have with the world that we don't see, the neskala, this vertical alignment that's happening. So these three-way conversation that's happening all the time is, it's a big passion of mine, and not so much what we're doing in those relationships, but how we communicate in those relationships.
So it doesn't have to be verbal communication.
Wow, nothing to do with verbal. The most powerful things I feel happen are wordless. It's the wordless conversations that are really full of life and spark. So I'm having a conversation when I'm sitting in the garden in the morning with my eyes closed, really. So this conversation that's happening all the time, it's precious. And we don't want to undermine it because we've been in that conversation before, because everything is just changing so acutely and so quickly from one moment to the other. So my principle in relationship is let's stay on the tip of the arrow. Let's make sure that this conversation is one that we're fully engaged in, and shut the doors and everything else, and be really here in whatever relationship that is.
Well,
climbing the tree or putting you upside down.
What I noticed from the other day with your workshop was there were 12 complete strangers in the room, of which I was one. I didn't know anyone else in the room at that time. You explained, of course, who you were, what you do, the principle and concept behind Zenthai Shiatsu. And then we got to engage with each other. You paired us off, so two total strangers, in which you have to physically touch, right? Not in a sexual way whatsoever, but in a very physical and connected way. And it was great. And at the end of that workshop, everybody was just laughing and enjoying themselves. And they'd only been with each other for 2 hours, but it was almost as if they'd been friends for a lifetime.
It's a big yearning for humans at the moment. People are crying out to connect in more deeper and meaningful ways. There's the abstraction with these little boxes that we're looking at, and we're jumping in cars, we're jumping in front of screens. So there's a big hole there, and just sitting back and just connecting with strangers in a really beautiful, heartfelt sense. People are yearning for it. People are yearning for it. I'm not kidding you. My courses and things over the last 4 to 5 years are just like full, and it's not really wanting to learn technique. They just want to connect to each other in these more raw and open-hearted ways.
Right.
Yeah.
And then tie that, if you would, to NFA.
NFA. NFA, no frowns allowed.
No frowns allowed.
No frowns allowed. I actually found out the other day, I actually remember the other day, is that when we smile, that it's the most simplest and easiest way to engage all the meridians at once.
Beautiful.
Just a smile.
Right.
So yeah, let's just put those smiles on.
So
and get a meridian workout.
So how about that as a natural segue to Bali, and connection to Bali?
Yes.
Smiles is an intro to the Balinese
They
culture.
must have worked that one out, centuries
A
ago.
long time
haven't they?
ago, huh? Land of smiles.
Yeah, when I come to this land of smiles, it's the first footstep I have into the place. You go, wow, yes, Bali, I'm back. And according to Emerald and these people that have been here for 30 years and studied Balinese cosmology, they say that when if you're that person that keeps coming back to Bali, you're just coming home because you've actually been here before. So the Balinese, when they greet you and bring you to their cremations and their weddings, they go, well, it's just a family member coming back home. He's just in a different body this time.
Beautiful.
And I think that's comes back to what we're saying. We are one humanhood. And they remember that. And I think that touches people here. They really feel that they're walking each other home here, because it's something really welcoming. It's not just the people, the place has this, it's nourishing, isn't it? For me, I think what we're actually trying to do in a transformational sense is that we just have to check in our conditionings to transform. And when we start to see, wow, I've been conditioned this way, my mind's been wired this way, and you get time to check in on that, then transformation happens. So when nature holds you so beautifully, and it gets slower, time slows down a bit, the watch goes out the window, you can eat beautiful, nourishing food, this inquiry happens, and you go, wow, I've been in a trap. I've been conditioned to think money and getting there, and I call it my resume virtues have been everything. What's my outcomes? Have I met my outcomes this week? And all of a sudden that conversation stops. You go, what? There's another virtue that's happening here. I call them the eulogy virtues. How do I do things? How do I eat my food? And then people start to check in. Wow.
Slow it down.
Slow it down.
Put the phone away.
There's the transformation. Yeah. There's part of us that need to have that, the direction and accomplishment in our life. It's part of everyone. But the Western world could possibly just be over-dominating that conversation and this eulogy of how are you engaging in this friendship at the moment? Are you having spaciousness around the way that you're eating your food and the conversations that you're having with your loved ones?
Right.
These things get lost.
Now let me ask you this. Have we been successful at still creating that nest for transformation in light of how popular this place has come as a destination? So you, 11 years ago, I think, taught your first workshop at Yoga Barn.
I came through this place a few days ago to run a workshop, and I said to my wife, I just put my hands together, because it was humming with quietness. It was beautiful. There was nature around. I could hear the birds. There were people there, but they were encouraged to be quiet. People were really just juicing up and being here. So the hustle and bustle and all that trying to get somewhere that might happen out on the streets. You come into the Yoga Barn and it's it stops. And I was really, really impressed with that. Wow, they've got the real yoga thing going on here. We're not just making shapes and making each other, making our bodies look good and get strong and stretchy. We're actually getting the inquiry about what things really matter. And I've seen this thing change massively in a relatively short amount of time.
A decade,
just over a decade. I think I was one of 3 classes in Ubud. that week there was a Wednesday night class in Ubud, a Friday night class at the Yoga Barn, and I was running an acro yoga workshop on Saturday.
Wow. Amazing.
And a few hundred every week now. So Yeah, obviously it was beautiful then, but it's still really, there's something really special here. A few years later, you may remember we were doing the 108 sun salutations in the rice fields.
I do.
And we had the big amphitheatre of that, everyone cheering us on.
Yep.
I was just in tears of ecstasy that
Magic.
time.
We need to do that again.
And that celebratory aspect of yoga and connection that was alive at that 108 sun salutations, that's still really happening here.
Beautiful.
I don't see that in many other places.
So appreciative of your friendship
Yep.
and your presence
Summer, summer.
and your message.
Summer, summer.
And I know that everybody feels the same because as a testament to those people that I saw come out of that workshop the other day, you could see that their light switches had been switched on. So thank you for the work you do.
Thanks, Charlie. I love this
You're a
unity
good man.
aspect of yoga. I think that we're all singing the same song. It's great to be singing it with you.
Thank you, brother.
Hari Om.
Hari Om. Cheers to you.
Cheers.